Hi, my name is Simon Underschultz, and I'm going to be performing a preservation assessment of a unique object from my home today, a VHS tape created by my grandfather. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge that I'm presenting from the land of the Ngambri and Ngunnawal people, and I pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. In this video, we will consider the type of object, its inherent vice, its preservation environment, and its digital surrogate. Inherent vice refers to the way an item harbors the seeds of its own undoing. VHS is a format of magnetic tape developed by Japanese company JVC in the 1970s. The tape has two main components: a polyester base layer and a binder mixed with a magnetic material containing the recorded data. This is coated onto the base layer, and the tape is wound on two spools enclosed in a hard plastic shell, which in this case was labeled, but not dated. An inherent problem of VHS tapes is they require a player to view the data on the magnetic layer, and these players are no longer commercially available. The UNESCO website states, quote, "Magnetic audio and videotape formats are now obsolete. Replay equipment in working condition is disappearing rapidly, and the supply and service of spare parts is fading." End quote. It is imperative I migrate the content to a more stable format, but digitizing won't be enough because of another problem that has emerged, and this leads to the next section: the preservation environment. When inspecting my tape, I encountered what appears to be mold or fungus. Fungus can feed on the glue that binds the magnetic layer to the polyester base and eventually causes irreversible damage. According to the National Film and Sound Archive, quote, "The recommended storage conditions for videotape are 18 to 24 degrees Celsius, with a relative humidity between 35 and 45%. End quote. I took readings of the RH and temperature of the room I store the tape in. As you can see, between 4 and 6 a.m. the RH is nearly at 80%. I live in Canberra, and right now during winter, as you can see in the next graph, the temperature in my home fluctuates rapidly, dropping from 18 degrees at 10 p.m. down to 10 degrees by 6 a.m. and back up again. Fluctuations in humidity and temperature are detrimental to VHS, and as Coffey and Walters advise in the Preservation Management Handbook, quote, "Prolonged exposure to high levels of humidity above 65% can encourage mold or fungus growth." End quote. I will need to take this tape to a trained specialist who will determine whether it can be cleaned and the content salvaged. For my records, I've photographed the VHS, and this leads to our next section on the digital surrogate. My phone generated the 72 dpi JPEG image of the VHS, and these are not preservation standard surrogates. According to the National Archive of Australia Preservation Digitisation Standards, which stipulate an uncompressed TIFF format at 400 dpi. The images are in cloud storage, which also poses problems because it means I must continue paying for the service in the long term, and it assumes the service will still exist. What happens, for example, to my cloud storage after I pass away? Harvey and Weatherburn also point out in Preserving Digital Materials that when using cloud storage, quote, "there may be data security issues to be considered," end quote. To minimize these risks, I will use a higher quality camera scanner to capture preservation standard images of the VHS. I'll follow preservation principles and keep multiple copies and store them in different locations. This will reduce the risk of me losing the only remaining record of Grandpa's tape forever. I hope this presentation has provided useful information. Thank you for watching.